Boxing promoters like Ed Hearn prove time and time again the reason and necessity for the likes of Turki Al-Sheikh's presence in the sport of boxing. Also, it proves Jake Paul's presence in the sport of boxing. You see, Paul wouldn't have the run that he's on now if boxing promoters had worked following what's in the best interest of the fighters. You see, promoters have spent too much time letting the fan base know that fights aren't ready and that there's not enough money behind a certain fight or a fighter. And all of that was done to protect their own based ends, because when they do that, what happens is they can delay fights until they can gain a greater piece of the pie. Well, fighters are now more independent than ever, and old promoters like Matchroom and Ed Hearn, they're still looking to milk it with the fighters, thus causing these issues that I speak of. Now, recently in a Boxing News 24 article, Hearn had spoken about Joshua versus Jake Paul being the biggest fight in boxing, which is absolutely absurd because Jake Paul is not a professional fighter in the sport of boxing. He is an entertainer, and he has put on events that have garnered a great deal of box office. But see, that's the thing. What he's doing is not necessarily boxing. And so Hearn sees the potential of that fight being the biggest out there, when in actuality, a fight with Joshua and Tyson Fury would be even bigger. A fight between Joshua and Deontay Wilder would be bigger. But see, Hearn has never looked to make those type of matches because he's still trying to pull the Barnum and Bailey aspect of boxing, where he's putting on events and not necessarily the best showdowns. And then you saw what happened in September of 2024 when he tried to put Joshua in against another professional heavyweight, Daniel Dubois, who starched Joshua, something that they had been trying to avoid for years when you would bring up the name of Deontay Wilder. You see, these things are right before our face, and Hearn has worked against the sport, putting on these type of affairs. As he says, he would say advanced is the word that clickbaiters would produce about how far along he is in negotiations for a fight between Joshua and Jake Paul. He says, I never really expected this fight to happen, but the more conversations I have, the more I think that there's a good chance it can happen. But why? We want to see professional boxing. And Queensberry seems to have a roster of heavyweights that if you line any of them up against Anthony Joshua, Hearn would probably be on the losing end once again, as he was in his 5 versus 5 showdown Matchroom against Queensberry, with the likes of Fabio Wardley, Lawrence Okolie, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and even Moses Atuma. Hearn states that he believes Paul wants the fight and believes he can win, which is even more dangerous. He says, but be careful what you wish for, because this is not what you're used to. Jake knows what he sees. AJ is thoroughly washed at this point, according to Boxing News 24. His chin is gone, and the only thing that he has left is his power. But that's not enough for him to count on beating Paul, because unless he lands early, he's going to end up getting knocked out like he did in his last fight against Daniel Dubois. You see, even a publication like Boxing News 24 has kind of been down on Anthony Joshua. But what they really should be down on, and whom they should be down on, is Ed Hearn. Hearn has brought Joshua's career to this point. Just as he has done with other fighters, he has veered them off course of where they could be successful and taken them into depths of despair. There's a better way to handle these things. You see, Hearn has spoken about the commercial properties of boxing and looking at the event as he can judge it being a huge place to make money. But the sport needs to thrive on what it offers. And what boxing offers is talent. Fighters who have toiled in the gyms to hone their craft and skills and be able to put them on display, and they should get a face forward front stage view to the audience. But if you're going to bring in the likes of Jake Paul, it's going to taint the sport. Paul can stay in the waters of where he swims, and that's fine. But boxing needs to be corrected. We have so many issues, including doping, and also just the negligence that is transpiring, even with now people being involved in the sport, trying to do away with the Muhammad Ali Act, which was in place to help and assist the fighters. All of these things where a sport where ethic is questioned needs to be taken by the reins. This is something that everyone needs to really take a closer look, because there are great fights to be had, especially in the heavyweight division. And we don't need circus acts. Novelty acts like Butterbean have always been around, but they shouldn't displace the real root of true boxing. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this is, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding Hearn wanting to commercialize AJ.